Tonix Pharmaceuticals just finished a trial of its COVID vaccine on animals. And with me is the CEO, Seth Lederman, to explain the findings. So Seth, I took a quick look at these. It looks pretty good. Can you go into detail about what your trial results were with this COVID vaccine?
Thanks, Jane. We're very excited. We tested our vaccine on non-human primates in an experiment where we vaccinated the animals with our vaccine versus two controls, either a sham vaccine or a vaccine that was closely related but wasn't designed to protect against COVID. And in the fourth quarter of last year, we announced very encouraging results about the immune response that these non-human primates mounted. But today, we announced that the vaccinated animals were protected against CoV-2. CoV-2 is the virus that causes COVID-19. So the top line of the results that was issued today was 6 days later, which is a relevant time in this animal model. The vaccinated animals had undetectable levels, less than 1,000, no more than 1,000 genomes of virus in either their upper airway or their lower airway. So, and in contrast, the animals that were not vaccinated or were vaccinated with a control vaccine had much more.
Okay.
So,
very interesting. Well, now we heard kind of as we've been studying all this, 94% effective, 90. Do you have a number on that yet, or are you at that point?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, we can't get that kind of information from this model because these animals don't get as sick from COVID as humans do. But the model that we use is very similar to the models that were used by the EUA vaccines, for example, and all the other vaccines. And we won't have that kind of number until we get into humans, because we have to just look at the amount of virus we can detect instead of looking at how healthy or sick the animals get.
Mm-hmm. Now, when we talked last time, you had explained a little bit about your goals for this vaccine, that it might be something that it could be used every year. I mean, kind of explain how this would fit into the whole COVID vaccine ecosystem.
It's a great question. The three EUA vaccines, EUA stands for Emergency Use Authorization, and I think everyone now knows that they would be the Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, and the J&J vaccine. They're all very important, and I first want to say that it was great effort to get them approved. I personally am one dose into the Pfizer vaccine. I urge everyone to get the vaccine as quickly as they are eligible to get it in their state or community. But despite the remarkable achievements of Operation Warp Speed and the potential of these vaccines, they are first generation vaccines. And there are important questions left about these vaccines. We just don't know. The most important is durability. How long will someone be protected? So we don't know. Will they only be protected for 6 months, for 9 months? I mean, for me, that's a very good trade-off because I want to be protected for 6 months. But on the other hand, there are older, more established techniques of vaccination that can provide years or decades of protection. So while the EUA vaccines, the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines are called mRNA vaccines, those are completely novel technology. And the J&J vaccine called Ad26 is almost as new, although it was half of a vaccine that was used in Africa for Ebola, but essentially, at least with an American experience, new. So we just don't know the durability. One of the great advantages of those vaccines is how quickly they could be developed. And thank goodness, because hopefully they're making an impact already, because over 100 million people, I believe, in the United States have gotten their first dose. Yeah. But it's no time to be complacent. We can't get a year from now and realize that the protection from these is only 6 months. We need other technologies. Also, after the pandemic, we expect COVID to be endemic, meaning that humans are going to coexist with COVID for the rest of the time that humans are on Earth. And that means that, like measles, mumps, and rubella, we probably will have to adopt a strategy of vaccinating children against COVID. So we are thinking in terms of that kind of vaccine, ultimately a childhood immunization that could be broadly deployed and tip the balance of this, sharing the earth with COVID, tip it in our favor in the same way that the MMR vaccine, the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, has tipped that balance in our favor. And our technology, in contrast to Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J, which are new technologies, ours is the oldest technology. Literally, the first vaccine was a vaccine to protect against smallpox, developed by Edward Jenner in 1796. We believe that our horsepox vector is closely related to the virus that Edward Jenner used. That virus provides years, decades of protection, and it was the most successful vaccine ever because it eradicated smallpox, the only viral disease ever eradicated. So we're taking the best part of the old virus vaccine technology and applying it to this new threat. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's why we're very different.
Very interesting. So the vaccine is called TNX 1800, correct? So yeah. What's next?
What's next is we hope to study humans this year. And the gating item for that is manufacturing TNX 1800 in a quality suitable for human investigation. So that's our big priority. And now we really feel that's the one hurdle left for us to jump through, particularly now that we have what we think is compelling data in the non-human primate animal model. Mm-hmm. So we are guiding that in the second half, we expect to do human phase 1 trials. So we're rushing towards that goal.
Okay. And then if all goes as planned, when might this vaccine go to the FDA and be approved?
That's a really difficult question, Jane. It's a fair question, but it's a difficult question because, there's so much about the pandemic and how it's unfolding that it's hard to look into the future. Hopefully these current vaccines will deal, a mortal blow to COVID, in which case it will be a longer period for us to get to market because testing will be, slightly more complicated. That is a good problem. We want that problem. On the other hand, if we're hit by more waves, you may have seen that Italy just went back into lockdown. You may have seen that vaccination is basically stopping throughout Europe because of troubles with one of the vaccines. You may have seen the information about the new strains. Experts are predicting that, the British strain, the Brazilian strain, the South African strain, and the Californian strain are going to become dominant. They're more infectious. They're not blocked well by the sera from vaccinated patients. So if things don't go well, I think our path would be accelerated. Okay. But again, I'm hoping that we have a longer path.
Yeah, boy, it's still so much we don't know, right? I mean, just when you think that we're on our way out of here, then another variant pops up and we've got that to deal with. So, okay, well, congratulations, Seth, on that.